Let's talk Tanya for the 26th day of the first Adar. So we're middle of chapter 32 of Tanya. It's a short chapter, and nevertheless, this year it's divided into 6 little segments. I guess the Friedrich Rebbe, when he divided Tanya, thought it was very important for us to really marinate and soak in this perek and spend a lot of time learning it. So the last 3 days we've been talking about the mitzvah to love every single other Jewish person and how to go about doing that. But the question is, do I need to love every single Jew? How about that despicable person, that horrible person who has done terrible things? Do I have to love that person also? So actually, if you look in the Gemara, the Talmud tells us that absolutely, sometimes not only do we have a right to hate another Jewish person, we have an obligation to do so. The background of this is, there's a pasuk in the Torah, there's a verse that says, Kisira chamer senacha revetz tachas masoi, which means that if you see the donkey of your enemy, and it is slouched, and it is under its burden, and it can't get up. So there's a mitzvah that you have to help the person who owns the donkey. You have to help him unload the donkey and then reload the donkey properly. And the Gemara says, what does that mean? You see the donkey of your enemy. It seems like the Torah is condoning a person having an enemy. In other words, yes, this donkey belongs to your enemy, and nevertheless, you should help him. 1 second, the Torah should say, you see the donkey of your enemy? Whoa, what's that all about? You're not allowed to have an enemy. Love that person. Don't hate him. But the Torah doesn't say it. It seems almost as if the Torah is saying, that's fine. And the Gemara says, yes. Someone who sees that their colleague has sinned, the Gemara tells us, mitzvah l'sneisei, it is a mitzvah to hate that person. It's a mitzvah to despise your colleague. And the Gemara takes it even further. That you should also, let's say you're a student in the yeshiva, and you see that your colleague has sinned. It's not enough that you should hate your colleague. You have to go to your teacher, your mutual teacher, and say, hello, my dear Rebbe, I know that, this colleague that I have, you probably think that he's a upstanding and a great student. I want you to know, I saw yesterday that he sinned, and you should also hate him. So we're seeing over here a license to hate, and how do you reconcile that with the whole larger idea of Avos Yisrael? So this is going to take us today and tomorrow, the day after, to fully understand this topic. But the first thing the Alter Rebbe is going to say, yes, there is a time and a place to hate another Jewish person, but 2 requirements have to be fulfilled in order to be able to hate another person, or in order to have that mitzvah to hate another person. Requirement number 1 is, if you look in the wording of the Gemara says, Hareya bechaveri shechata. If I see that my colleague has sinned, requirement number 1, the person has to be my colleague, meaning has to be my peer in the area of Torah mitzvahs. The person has to be on my spiritual level or higher than me. But if a person is on a lower spiritual level than me, less learned, less knowledgeable, less spiritually sensitive, then I do not hate that person. That is requirement number 1. What is the reason for this requirement? And what is the second requirement? And why should I hate my colleague? And what should be my attitude if I see someone who does a sin and he's not my colleague? All of this will be answered in tomorrow's Tanya.